Welcome to another day on Magic the Gathering Arena Online, where my opponent is named Cheese Toe. Okay. Sometimes I wonder why people choose the nicknames they do, or the usernames, the call signs they'd use. I'm Travis, and my call sign is Tpull, because you're here at Tpull's Corner. And what is this? A surgical skull bomb? Well, they could cause me some problems with this because I like the idea of counters in my particular deck. You know, a bunch of artifacts. Let's see. Return with mana value X or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Wasn't this one that was broken? I don't know. Well, I now have 4 copies of this Planeswalker because
Be swift! We haven't much time.
Arena was not dealing me this particular Planeswalker as a reward
Please,
the entire time.
Buy us more time!
So I used 4 mythic rares to get 4 copies, and I used 2 more to get 4 copies of Titania, Voice of Gaia. And I might have gone overboard because I ended up with 61 cards by the time I was done with 6 mythic rare burns. But you know, if they're gonna come at me with mythic rares.
I started this war, and Dominaria's treasures will aid us in our fight.
We better just go take care of
My
this now.
voice beckons to all worlds.
You will not win.
We've got 3 colors available already.
Ah, geometric perfection.
And they go for the card draw. Are you able to cast enough spells in one turn? Let's try Titania. Go ahead and get rid of the first time. They probably have more.
Failure haunts me still.
And now we can get an emblem.
Please, buy us more time.
A second one. To get rid of my Titania. That's fine, actually. As long as you don't kill my Planeswalker right now. They draw a lot of cards, don't they? Staff of Completion. They're up to shenanigans, aren't they? Look at all that. We'll take the emblem.
Everything. Harness the connections between all things.
Let's see, that gives them protection from green. And they already got their Planeswalker.
This is the legacy of... I am Urza Planeswalker. Move.
So did you tap out to do all that? Okay. So what does that let me do? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can bring down you. I can bring down you. And this is kind of backfiring on me a little bit, isn't it?
Don't start fights you can't finish.
See, so it comes in as a 7, and they did the +2/+2 just to beef themselves up. Another card.
Better to fight alongside. Dominaria's treasures will aid us in our fight.
Fetch me more power stones. This is the legacy of the
exile
Thrall.
anything, and they're not going to create blockers. Well,
So many voices in need of help.
3, 6,
My voice
9.
beckons to all worlds.
We almost got them all.
Enough. You're dismissed.
World of Phyrexia. Okay. So we give up a couple of the Shigekis and I guess a Willowgeist. Now let's go get back an Urza each time, right?
Geometric perfection.
Enigma Jewel. Gross. Okay, so you come out now. Let's get rid of the portal. Or were we supposed to get rid of the Enigma Jewel? Let's go ahead and bring back... I guess you.
Break free and fight!
And we get rid of another Planeswalker.
Treachery befalls us.
We're kind of having trouble getting land. Play check. Okay. It's a big hit, but it doesn't have haste. And you tapped out, right? So you can't... You need blue, and you don't have blue. So I think we're set. All I have to do, just to be on the safe side, is get one extra attacker here.
Please, buy us more time.
There's nothing in the... Oh, they saw we had lethal, right? So they're out. Alright. Bear with me, this is my first time really taking it out for a spin. The first time I tried, my system froze up as I lost the internet connection. So let's go in. This is coming from a deck that beat me, so that's the playlist that it will be under. And every now and then Mono Green does a really good job of being able to set up kind of a steady state where they can add creatures slowly and build up an army. And maybe you've got a lot of creatures too, so you stand off against each other for a while. But I call this Proliferant Green because we've got the Planeswalker, 4 copies of it, and we've got some proliferate spells. And so what we want to do is try and get that emblem fast, so whatever they can do to get rid of our stuff, we can just go back into our graveyard and get it again. So, Wrenn and Realmbreaker. Up to 1 target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with vigilance, hexproof, and haste. Then I can mill 3 cards, get a permanent card from among the mill cards into my hand. And that ties in nicely with Titania, Voice of Gaia, right? Because you want lands in your graveyard. Whenever 1 or more lands are put in your graveyard from anywhere, you gain 2 life. So if we can mill some with Wrenn and Realmbreaker, we'll not only gain life, but we'll get the 4 that we need to get Argoth going, right? I've got 2 copies of Argoth only. I don't have 4 yet. Or did I? No, I crafted those, right? Aha! I did some rares too. the lands are only rares. So I have 4 copies of Argoth, 4 copies of Titania, so we can merge them. And I wonder if this was a mirror match because they put us up against Urza. So I wonder if this was like arena trying to put me up against something similar. Anyway, to help us out for the rest of it, we've got 4 easy chump blockers, Fang of Shigeki, their Death Touch. We've got 4 Thirsting Roots. This is part of the Proliferate spell. If we need land, we can go get it with this. Hopefully we can just go ahead and proliferate with it. For the Willowgeist, whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on Willowgeist. This is fun for a couple of different reasons with this particular deck, because with Wrenn and Realmbreaker, if we do get the emblem, the ultimate, where you can play lands and cast permanent spells from your graveyard, every time we play land from the graveyard, that's going to boost up the Willowgeist. And if we mill 3 cards and put a permanent from among the mill cards into our hand, again, that's something leaving the graveyard. That's also going to help. So 2 different ways, just from Wrenn and Realmbreaker, we can activate Willowgeist. In the meantime, once we manage to meld this, all of the land cards come from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So hopefully we have at least 1 Willowgeist on the battlefield for that. The 4 Cankerblooms are coming in real handy just because Brothers War was artifact heavy as it is. In the meantime, we just came out with the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which is, hey, way heavy with artifacts. So, yeah, you need some removal. We have, and if we're not destroying target artifacts or enchantments, we can proliferate there as well. So there's another proliferate thing. We have Rune's Recluse. This one can put a counter on itself, so if we proliferate later, this is another place where we can add counters. We have Unnatural Restoration, return permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So say we have Wrenn and Realmbreaker and we mill 3 cards and we're looking to put lands in there, but we get our copy of Argoth in there. So we have Titania or Argoth and we mill one of them. We could use one of these cards to get it back to our hand. Just a nice little way to dip into if we mill something that we don't want to. 2 copies of Tribute to the World Tree. Whenever a creature enters your battlefield under your control, if it's 3 power or greater, you draw a card. That's only for the Silverback Elder. Everything else is going to be less than 3, so we would automatically get 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and then we go to town with our proliferation spells. We also have 3 copies of the Silverback Elder. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you can destroy target artifacts or enchantments. So I think we've got the artifacts and enchantments area covered as far as removing those threats. We can also gain 4 life, or look at the top 5 cards of the library and put a land card from one of them into the battlefield tapped. And the 4 Argoths, as I said, which we used to meld with Titania into Gaia Incarnate. And the 4 Riveteer's Overlook, which if we can get the emblem out and we can play lands from the graveyard, we can run through all of our basic force pretty quick just by gaining a life and playing one of these from the graveyard each turn. So that's the idea. It's called Proliferant Green. That's my name for it anyway. Let's go in and see how we do. We did good against a bunch of Planeswalkers just now. I'm not sure if they wouldn't have been better off just creating a bunch of 1/1 chump block tokens, and maybe that would have given them the time they needed instead, but I've played proliferation-specific decks, usually with blue. Blue, I think, is primary with, they have spells for proliferate, they have an artifact that aids in proliferation. I did really good with that spell along with a whole bunch of Planeswalkers, like a Super Friend proliferation deck. They've even got a legendary creature that you can double up the proliferation. But, so I think green is secondary in proliferate? And will this just be mono red aggro? No, they've got white in there already. Are you willing to trade? You are. It seems like a fair trade to get rid of one of those. The reinforced Ronins can really be a pain if you're not ready for them. Since we're dealing with haste, I guess we stick down some of these now. just as cover so we can bring down Ren and Realm Breaker later. In the early stages, we do have to worry about these mini board wipes. No, are we just dealing with the standard red and white samurai deck? You're going to exile that, but you can't play it. I was hoping for a land. Instead, we get the most expensive card
I burn
in the
with
deck.
power.
I only have two
Break
5-drops.
free and fight.
She does like to talk, doesn't she? Yeah, I only have two 5-drops in the entire deck, and I have them already. This is what Magic does to you, or at least what it does to me. We're going to go ahead and try and protect Red if we can. Finally, we get one more land at least. Alright, we will bring back the Recluse. Would have been nice to have the Geist there. Submit 1 for proliferating, right? That's, yeah, the unnatural restoration allows us to proliferate. We put this puppy down. And then target a land.
Please, buy us more time.
If we'd hit a land drop, and maybe we could have had another land down there by now that was not tapped. As it is, even if they're willing to give up Rezona, they can still stop us from going ultimate with the Rabbit Battery. The one saving grace is that sometimes I think this deck is a little light on removal. And we know they already lost one of the removal spells. So we chump block again. See if they have a way to save Rezona. Otherwise the Death Touch is going to get it. Okay, so they take the creature that they want to make indestructible, and it becomes indestructible anyway. Lovely. Finally, okay. That's all we need is 5 lands. That's all we need for this deck. I'm starting to despair.
The end.
Now we can bring anything we want back.
Is it my final gambit?
And that's everything you got. The haste isn't going to be enough, right? Because this is an equipment rabbit. It's not a warrior. If they want to get a quick hit in and they attack with both, I'll block Rezona so that I don't have to worry about the indestructible nonsense. But they're tapped out, so if they attack with just one, Tempered in Solitude isn't going to be helpful to them. Oh, this is nice. Okay, this is starting to look really nice for me now. Okay, we start with the Geist. We destroy Tempered in Solitude. We bring Rune's Recluse out. Pumps up the Geist. We destroy Rabbit Battery. Then we bring the other one out, pump up the Geist again, and just gain 4 life. And now I don't really have a concern in the world. Because I'm going to hit my land drop every turn now, right? Remember, I can play lands from the graveyard, so if I don't get a land, I can get a land. And I get to pump up the Geist every single turn. In the meantime, here comes another Silverback Elder. And let's destroy the new Rabbit Battery they put down. Life is good. And I could afford to attack, but I'm not going to. they might double block. There's no reason for me to do that just yet. I can do stuff like this. And stuff like this.
Be swift. We haven't much time.
And stuff like this.
I see
Argos.
endless rot and rebirth.
Extra mana goes into the mana sink for a Recluse to just pump that up. And then they're ready for proliferation spells, proliferation effects. In the Canker Bloom, what's really nice, we can bring the Canker Bloom in from the graveyard each turn. Use it to get some more land out. And we can sacrifice it and proliferate. Good.
Break free and fight.
And now, even if they have a board wipe, should we go get more? Let's just get one of these. Canker Bloom again. Trigger, trigger, trigger. Let's just gain life. We're not going to be too picky. Although this is an enchantment creature, isn't it? Hang on. Target one land. Okay. Let's bring down
Please.
another one.
Buy us more time.
Destroy target artifact or enchantment. There. Life is just too good. Proliferate. Proliferate. I feel like we can attack with everybody now. I mean, we could have taken longer. But then we would really be playing with our food. Yeah, that was fun for me. Our opponent looked like they flooded out a tiny bit. Oh, do we want to talk about the land use in this game? I tracked my first 8 games today because I decided to start tracking because the very first game that I played, it dealt me the standard 2 lands. I went into Historic, and then I didn't get any lands dealt to me the entire match. And I'm like, okay, I keep talking about how I'm starving or getting flooded out half the time. That's my impression. Let's start tracking it. So I played 8 games. The first game starved, third game flooded, fourth game starved, and seventh game starved. So out of my 8 games, 3 were starved and 1 was flooded. And the other 4 had somewhat normal land distribution, reasonably speaking. And I am of the opinion that this game should not be starving or flooding you for half of your games. That is too much. If red has nice little damage spells, they're usually willing to get rid of the 1/1s right away. So you only cost them 1 or 2. Oh, they're going for that instead. Okay. So I think we have to do this. This kind of deck tends to have instants that will increase their strength by 2. So let's get rid of one of them now. We need a little bit more cover to bring out the Planeswalker. So we're kind of a weenie deck ourselves in a sense with a lot of our... We do have 3 different 1-drops here. And I got 4 copies of each in the deck, I believe, so... For a change, one of the decks... Well, this is from a deck that beat me, though, so it wasn't necessarily me that constructed this. I kind of took what I saw and reconstructed it with guesswork. So I didn't see all of the cards, but... Okay, you got rid of 1 Death Touch. And they go fishing because they don't have enough to take care of the next one, I guess. They don't want the electrostatic infantry to die to a death touch. Oh, never mind. They go straight to face instead of taking out the other recluse. I'm a little surprised at that. Do you want to make the trade now? They do! Wow. They're very confident. They must like the other cards they have. Still not getting land. Mono red is outdrawing me on land. Got to be kidding me. We were expecting them to have 4 of those. They just want to take us out from the top, huh? Alright. No? Okay, these are all going to be blockers for Ren and Realmbreaker. And all we want to do is get the emblem. They use both lightning strikes to our face. They must think that's going to work.
I will give you all the time I can muster. Allies everywhere, stand with us!
If I can get one of my silverbacks, I'll have a source of life gain too. Okay, Wool Tree comes down. This goes into the graveyard while I get... There's another source of life gain right there with Titania. And that little bit of life gain, that should disturb them. They've got 4 attackers and I got 4 chunk
Break
blockers.
free and fight!
And if they get an artifact, you can bet I'm going to sacrifice Cankerbloom. Because that's going to allow me... No, if I sacrifice Cankerbloom, I can destroy the artifact, but I can't proliferate at the same time. What is this? 5? Ouch!
Kapash! Ah, not yet! Allies everywhere, stand with us!
If they get direct damage too fast, they're going to get rid of the Planeswalker before I can do the emblem. That's one with flying. No. I can't believe they did that. Did they not look and see what I had? They're out of ammo, so no consequence for us blocking that. That worked out nicely. Let's see. So, we go get one of you. And
My voice beckons to all worlds.
And we still not getting land. Again, red is getting more land than we are. There we go, that's good. Aha! Give me a little extra card draw and we finally got stuff going. Proliferate.
Allies
Yes,
everywhere. Stand with us.
Proliferate. Yes, please. Oh, they've got to be nervous now. They need another Rebel Salvo. Oh, they flooded out. That sucks to be them. That's not legendary, so...
Please,
we're done.
buy us more time.
I mean, if they had it burn down the house... oh, that's... no, that's just not fun at all. How could you draw 3 lands in a row? You're mono red. Well, I've done it, but usually in ranked. We get the ultimate.
Death. The multiverse is at my beck and call.
And look at us pop off now.
My roots touch every world. Allies everywhere. Stand with us.
And this is when you start to feel bad for mono red, because they're not like black. Black can destroy anything, but usually, there you go, 8. Not bad overall. You get some benefit out of having all that land, but the thing is I can just bring it back and I can build it up again. Yeah, they know that that was the last thing that they had. Send all their forces to die, and then they will leave. And I probably should have done some of this other stuff first. The nice thing about having 2 tributes to the World Tree is I get the counters and then I get a card draw after all. Why is the opponent not leaving? Maybe they haven't seen how the deck works. Oh, I already did that, right? Okay. End the turn.
Break free and fight.
I think Arena wanted you to lose. Fleet. I mean, I went enough turns without land. I felt like I was being starved, but when you're mono red, you never feel like getting a land drop a turn is being... You never feel like that's good, right? If you're... At least if you're mono red aggro, you always feel like you're being flooded out, even if you're getting lands at the same pace as somebody else. I know I have an entirely different perception when I'm playing mono red for lands. Certain decks only take 2 or 3 lands to work, and then you're like, why am I getting a 4th land? Arena. And then almost every other deck that I make, it's like, how come I'm not getting a 4th land? Arena. So I know one session is not enough to form a conclusion, and I'm aware of the possibility of confirmation bias, that I'm just seeing what I'm expecting to see, and I'm treating that as proof positive that what I think is happening is actually happening. All I can say is, as soon as I decided to start recording my games, the distribution matched my sense of it. And I will continue, I guess, to record every now and then and build up more numbers. I feel like that's overpowered. I'm okay with the getting a 4/4 for a 3 when it's green, but getting Trample and Toxic 1 and a Proliferation capability? Oh, and an on-curve Mythic Rare. I think we're pretty much done for already, aren't we? Because these Planeswalkers are not going to be really helpful at this point. And a duplicate Titania is not going to be helpful at this point. And they can already beat me with 2 different creatures on the field by turn 4. That's if they don't have like a fight spell or something. Yeah, and I have nothing in the graveyard, so these are 2 dead cards. 3, oh, I didn't even see that third one. 3 dead cards, okay. So yeah, basically, Arena made sure to give me everything that was not going to be useful.
I am the nexus of all that is.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Since I do have 61 cards, and I took care to craft all these Mythic Rare cards, let's take out one of the unnatural selections from it. To a certain degree, they are not as useful, right? Because we do have 4 copies of the Planeswalker, so we've got a lot of chances to get the emblem without digging into our graveyard. This is kind of before we get the emblem. But we still need to have a chance. I mean, when we go in and look at this distribution, let's look at it now instead of at the end of the match. Here. Hey. Hey! Get out of there. Okay, hang on. The interface is not playing nice with me today. Go back in. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we've got 23 creatures. The average mana cost of this is only 2.2 for the entire deck. You notice we've got the 12 1-drops. And the other creatures that we have are 2-drops. So we've got 20 creatures in here. That's almost all of our creatures that are 1 and 2-drops. And what did we get? We got 3 copies of this, a duplicate of this, and 2 copies of this. None of which were really... I mean, 1 Titania was kind of useful, I would agree, right? But it seems really weird that we've got 20 things that are 1 and 2-drop creatures, and we didn't get dealt any of them in the opening 3-4 turns. Signs that Arena wants you to lose, finally. Do you have enough cards? They gave us 4. That's kind of unusual. They might think this is just some sort of Death Touch deck since we have both the Recluse and the Fang. They're both Death Touchers. They shouldn't want to trade. They really shouldn't. They want to trade? I would have figured they would have wanted that Weaver for ramp, specifically. Alright, that's all of our creatures. We've already run out of ammo. Let's go ahead and search for a land. That'll at least stop the Hellpack Piper from transforming. But all it takes is one Avabruck Caretaker to ruin my day. Oof, or a Paladin of Predation. Oh, look at that. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Again, signs that Arena wants you to lose. So now we're stuck on defense against a creature with Toxic 6 that we can't block. And you wonder why it took Arena nearly 30 seconds to go find this deck. And look how many cards. They've got a 250 card deck, and they've got exactly what they need. Like, I can activate this now, and if I kept hold of the other card, I mean, literally I'm dead because I can't block it. And it's going to kill me by poison. And they didn't have anywhere near the 7 mana to bring it out. So out of a 250 card deck, they gave it the Hellpack Piper, and they gave it the means to summon the one creature that I can't block. That also would be able to kill me in 2 turns. And this is kind of just mean now. I mean, I'm already dead and they're still trying to add on damage. What else are you going to try and do? You already have me dead. That's 12 poison counters. No, that was pure manipulation. Now, is this done by the AI, or does the team of wizards that spies on my gameplay need that 27 seconds to go find the cards? Actually, I think what it does is Arena finds the deck that can beat me, maybe, and the team of wizards that spies on me, when they think that I've won too much, they go ahead and manipulate the cards in the deck. So like, oh, you know what? This deck can't win until it gets the predation creature out. So let's get it out earlier than 7th turn. Oh, how do we do that? Okay, so let's give it the Hellpack Piper first, and then you stick in the predation, and we'll just top deck those. For new people, I'm joking. It's a in-joke that's been going on since I started nearly 3 years ago. I don't think Wizards has a real team of spies. That's just my conspiracy-minded theory. Well, at least the Argos themselves are not legendary lands, so we'll try this. Let's try this first and get a Geist out. Really? Mono red aggro again? Yeah, I'd like an untapped land instead of Argoth. Seriously, Arena? Alright, we're going to take another hit from the Forge. I want to be able to bring down the Cankerbloom and sacrifice it without them killing the Cankerbloom. If they have time to react for their turn. You see, they have a lot of energy and they still have 4 cards. So they have to let this resolve. And they can't outspeed a sacrifice. So as soon as I say do this, that Cankerbloom is gone. Thankfully, they can't react to that. They are through playing nice, though. They can react to my Willow Geist. Okay, no attacks. There's another mana source, different color. We'll go ahead and block this. If they have some kind of trick, I'd rather they waste it now on a 1/1. Perfect. Oh yes, make your 1/1 indestructible. That's worthwhile. Now they could easily have an instant that destroys that, but that's what Unnatural Restoration is for. Plus, if they have an enchantment, we can just go get the Cankerbloom instead. So either way, we're good. Do you have any tally? That was quick. I feel like that's a little unfair. That was literally 6 lands and a treasure, and they had that ready
There,
1 turn
in
earlier.
the tangle, I see a path to victory.
I think we're dead again. That's not normal mono red aggro. That's got white in it. They had an on-curve Urbrest Forge and an Itali. I don't think I've seen a Forge with an Itali before.
I must fight back.
In the stuff that we have, a duplicate Titania. Yeah, what we have is not sufficient. We would need... How many turns would we need to match an Itali? I would need like 3 turns in a row to get even close. And we're basically dead in 2 turns. I don't have anything against flyers in this deck. And we're not being land starved exactly, but our opponents are drawing a lot more land than we are. They're always ahead of us. And for having a deck with 20 creatures that are 1 and 2 drops, I am not able to build up a bunch of those. Even on second turn already, they've already got better than mine. And I thought, you know, isn't green supposed to be better? Because green concentrates on creatures, green concentrates on big creatures. They get a 2/3. Bunch of lifelink. And I can't bring down my Planeswalker yet. What are we waiting for? Yeah, I guess we just pass. I wonder if they have black mana. I'll go ahead and trade there. Battle tactic? Yes, they do. Ooh, it's exiled too, so I can't bring it back. Okay. The land's going to give me the Silverback Elder in a couple more turns. But their small creatures are already more powerful than anything else I can bring out. If I had just one extra land ready, I could bring out Wrenn and Whelmbreaker and then get a 3/3 hexproof blocker. Instead, I'm just nearly dead already. Turn 4. Let's just go thin the deck out. We'll get another land ready. Untapped. We've got one chump blocker. Well, 2 chump blockers, really. These are not soldiers, right? The clerics. So, 1 death toucher there, 1 chump blocker there. They finally got their swamps, so if they have a 3rd missionary ready, they could bring something back. And we are nearly dead. So we're kind of hoping that they don't have removal right away. That's an artifact creature. Okay. Yep, they're just going to chump block. I think we go ahead and get rid of that. And we're down to 2. Let's see. Destroy artifact. Gain life. Let's try that. Does that stabilize us? Even if we lose the Elder to removal, we still got a blocker there and somebody that can handle that one there. I have so much life now. They're matching us on the card draw too. What? Why would you do that? Get rid of that while we have the chance.
There, in the tangle. Please, buy us more time.
Just keep the Elder in the background on defense against any potential haste. Oh, this is nice.
Break free
Trade.
and fight.
They do not. Okay. They probably feel they have a ton of runway still, right? They're still twice their maximum life. Why would they do that? You don't have any soldiers.
I must fight back!
Alright, the land yield is about the same. They got a little bit more in the way of card draw than we do. The one thing that's been missing from them so far is removal. Okay, incapacitation. Almost as good normally, but not quite against this deck. And that's an artifact creature, isn't it? Life is about to get good for us. We're kind of flooding out, but that's okay.
Suffering is
Once we get access to the graveyard,
everywhere.
we're going to need all the energy we can afford. Okay, so
At
we'll
last!
bring out the Willowgeist first.
This is how we win.
We will destroy this puppy, and we'll destroy this puppy. What do you got? Okay, so they let that happen. We'll bring back our Planeswalker. Play our land.
I fight
Oh no, we already played a
for
land this turn.
every plane.
Let's bring out the Recluse. You think you have life?
Break free and fight!
Oh, you picked the wrong time to flood out. Kind of unusual. We usually expect to see a little bit more than just... Maybe they have more removal in there, but they drew all their creatures first. Alright, let's try one more. So, kind of an inconsistent deck. I don't know if there's a middle ground to substitute some of the creatures, but, you know, the Geist works really well if it has a chance to hang around. And I don't want to substitute the Cankerbloom because that has Proliferate. So, the only thing that you would really think about getting something different in there is probably Fang of Shigeki. And again, this is my most expensive spell. I only have 2 of them. If you're new, first of all, I don't think I said it yet, so if you are new, please like and subscribe. But here's the issue. For the longest time, I would only build decks that had 2 5-drops in them, and if I went over that, I would get a couple of the more expensive cards in my hand in the opening, and I would be stuck with them for 4 or 5 turns without being able to cast them. So I learned for a very long time. They changed the equation at some time. The algorithm changed. But for a very long time, I only had 2 in the entire deck. And you see here, I only have 2 this time, and I'm still getting this Elder either in the opening hand or I get one really early. And it can feel strange to play enough rounds where you're getting... you know, you have 21 and 2-drops and you don't get any of those, but you do get a Silverback Elder. A Raging Battle Mouse. I haven't used him yet. I feel like I should. I should probably use that soon. Okay, let's see. Let's try Titania. We do not attack. The question is, do we block? There's usually a battle tactic here this early. I mean, the Recluse will be exiled if that's all there is to it. But they should want to save their etching if they can right now. Nope, they just let it go. Alright. What else are you going to do? Anything? They do nothing? Alright. I don't know what they'll have in the way of other enchantments, but do we sacrifice the Canker Bloom just to get rid of an etching? We might. Let's go ahead and use one of these just to go get a land. Because I want to get Silverback Elder down on curve. They get rid of Canker Bloom. So they could have waited and see if I would block with Titania and then use the Lightning Bolt on Titania. Does that mean anything? I mean, does that mean, like, they do have some good artifacts and enchantments, something better than Kamano? And it's important for them to remove Canker Bloom as a threat? Yeah, come on through. We're not blocking you. Not in the world of lightning strikes. The Thrill Seeker makes the calculus a lot more difficult now, too. That 7 health normally makes things a little tricky for red. I think it's worth giving up a Titania here. I guess they might have 2 burn spells. Ouch. They need 1 mana to sacrifice it, and then they could still just have another lightning strike for the other 2. Herb Rust instead. Huh. Alright. Well, we're just sitting here flooding out. So I guess we'll just sit here and flood out. We can make bears, right? We just have to be willing to mill 3 cards. Activate orange. Oh, hello. I am familiar with Ogier Axonel. But they can't get past the Elder just yet. Okay, do they have anything in the way of... I could get rid of the enchantment, I guess. Is that enough? Let's just make it 1 less. They're trying to figure out if they should blow this now and do 4 points of damage to something. They've got 1 mana, that's all they need to sacrifice it. Is it really worth the 1 extra point to sacrifice that now? Okay, they decided not. Okay, we really just need to start getting something besides land. That's a good card. They are not willing. Yeah, what is this? Can I activate that? No, I don't have enough. Alright, so we passed the turn. That's an elemental. My problem is they can sacrifice his Plows of Heroes and make either one of these indestructible on any one particular turn. And I need 1, 2, 3... No, I've got 4 lands in the graveyard. Okay, so I just need Titania to survive to the beginning of upkeep. Does that mean I don't block anything? Maybe I chump block with the bear. Odger has trample. They might get a free hit right on through with that. Three damage to the face. They could have done that to any target. Okay, so let's see. How many did that end up being because they had Odger? Oh, never mind. How do I get 2 hits off of that? Oh, that's the 1 damage from... There's the combo. You have Odger, and here, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Urbaz deals 1 damage. That 1 damage, thanks to Odger, turns into 4 each time. So that's going to be 4, and it's automatically going to be a second 4 from Urbaz. So they did 16 points of damage just by having those 2 out. That's why they didn't bother attacking. Kind of a fun combo. So that leads me to want to do one more adjustment to the deck just for my own peace of mind. And this isn't going to be a major change, but I'm keeping in mind things like Shieldred, where this was kind of a situation where they just had to sit there as long as they had enough forces to stop me from attacking. They definitely had a lot of power on their side. They had a lot of combination stuff. So there was just no way I could attack. So let's get rid of 1 Fang of Shigeki and let's go get a fight spell. Or deal damage. And we don't have a tutor effect in here. So it's going to be a very small percentage where this is going to come up in a timely manner, but I just feel better about... I've got 3 Silverback Elders. They've got 5 damage to them, but if I can't attack, I still need some way to interact with the other side of the board. So the question is, which spell do I use? There's a number of fight spells that we have from which to choose here. Tandem Takedown. That costs 1 extra mana. Yeah, I think we'll just do it simple, right? We'll just do a Bite Down? I think so. Okay, so I'll have one bite down in the deck. And I think we'll leave it there. I think we've done enough fights for you all to get the sense of what the deck can do, of what it's good at. But I feel like there's enough cards like that where they can just sit back and not attack and just get their win condition, depending on how they have it set up. If we've at least got one Elder out, if they've got something again like an Oger or a creature with backup or a Sheoldred, maybe, you know, this will come up and we can just get rid of it. And we don't really have anything else like that in the deck. We're kind of reliant on getting these creatures down, getting our emblem in. If we don't get our emblem in, we've got the tribute down, getting some counters on here, boosting these up either through the Recluse pumping itself up, you know, or the Willow Geist by taking stuff out of the graveyard, getting counters on these things and proliferating them. And that's a large part of the strategy. So there's just so little interaction. We did really good on interaction in terms of getting rid of artifacts and enchantments, but Wizards over the last, you know, between 10 to 15 years, they spent so much time stapling all these spells onto the creatures that it's almost like you don't need to just watch out for the artifacts and enchantments anymore. The creatures are deadly spells just in and of themselves when you think about the powerful staples that we see every day like Sheoldred. So yeah, this mix might not even be bad. You could easily argue that you should have more bite downs in the deck, but I'm gonna at least have one bite down, just because I feel like there should be some interaction somewhere in that sense. And we'll leave it with that. So, as always, we ask you to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the deck. It'll be under the playlist, Decks That Beat Me. That's where I got the inspiration, because this deck was able to beat me when I faced it. It took a while. Both of our sides were building up. But once they got their Planeswalker out, they had a decided advantage that I just could not stop. I had taken out like one of these, and then they got a second one out and got the ultimate emblem going. And that was all it took. So I feel like it's kind of a fun deck to play around with, and it's something that I don't normally do because I don't usually use that many 1-drops as far as creatures in the deck. And I don't have 12 of them, right? That's Thirsting Roots. That's not a creature. So I have 8 1-drops. And now we're down to 7. So you see, even as I get to taking somebody else's deck and tweak it, I'm still, if I'm keen to put anything else in, I'm always keen to go to the 1-drops and start dropping the 1-drops from there and then going on from things. But I kind of like the deck. Do you like it? Let me know. And before I go, let me remind you, we do have like 10 days left in the month of January, so I've got to pull up. It's kind of asking you what kind of Magic products you're into because they're releasing so many. And there's the new Murders at Karlov Manor that's kind of interesting. And I didn't know there's so many Universe Beyond things that are being released. There's Pioneer. So I basically have a pull up for you to vote and just get a sense of, are you only doing the 4 major releases for each year, the ones that you're going to be able to play on Arena? Are you into Pioneer? Are you into the Universes Beyond? And I've got different kind of results that you can answer. You can answer just the 4. You can answer a specific type of thing. You can say that you're all in for everything. So I want to kind of get a sense from my audience, for the people that are coming to this channel, what you're interested in doing. And that may inform, you know, how many other formats I dip into from time to time, because I don't do a ton of, you know, historical or draft or alchemy. And I do some on occasion, but I'm mostly just in modern standard. And I kind of want to get a sense from you all, because you're the ones that are, you know, taking time out of your day to come watch this. If there are other things that you're interested in, if you're buying the other Wizards products, then I would be willing to go into these other areas and entertain you there as well. But I just need to kind of know. So that's why the poll is up there now. And we'll keep that open for the rest of this month. So with that, thanks everybody, and have a good one.